Welcome back to MzansiVerseTV, the channel that asks the hard questions so you don't have to. Today, we are going deep into the Rainbow Nation. And no, we are not talking about the Springboks winning. We are talking about the stuff South Africans have been whispering about at braais for decades that turned out to be absolutely, horrifyingly, 100% true. Grab your Boerewors. You are going to need it. These are the top 10 South African conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Number 10. The government was literally poisoning and assassinating people. Casually. You know how in spy movies there is always some shadowy government program that poisons enemies, engineers assassinations, and generally behaves like a Bond villain? South Africa said, "Hold my castle lager." Enter Project Coast. The apartheid government's secret chemical and biological weapons program, run by a man named Wouter Basson, who friends call Wouter, and history calls Dr. Death. This guy was developing poisoned beer, cholera in the water supply, and a device that could spray anthrax. For fun, apparently. When people first heard about this, it sounded completely unhinged. The government denied it. They always deny it. Then, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission hearings happened. And suddenly, oh yes, it was all very real. Wouter Basson was put on trial, was found not guilty on all counts, and is currently practicing as a cardiologist in Cape Town. Let that sink in. Number 9. The arms deal was one giant bribe fest. In 1999, South Africa signed a multi-billion rand arms deal to buy weapons the country did not particularly need, from companies that were very eager to sell them. Suspicious? Said the public. Absolutely not, said the government. Definitely yes, said like 15 separate investigations, 2 books, a documentary, and eventually a full judicial commission of inquiry. The Zondo Commission and various court proceedings revealed that the arms deal was, to put it in technical legal terms, an absolute festival of corruption. Kickbacks, bribes, payments to political figures, it reads like the plot of a very boring but extremely expensive crime thriller. Jacob Zuma himself faced 783 counts of corruption related to the arms deal. He has been fighting that court case since roughly the invention of the internet. It is still going. We will update you when it ends, which may be never.
Number 8. State capture was real, and the Guptas basically ran the country. Picture this. It is 2013. Someone tells you, hey, an Indian business family has essentially purchased the South African government. They are appointing cabinet ministers. The president takes their calls at 3 a.m. They are mining, broadcasting, and eating breakfast at the union buildings. You would say, that sounds like a terrible Netflix show. Except it was not Netflix. It was actual reality television, except nobody had cameras and everyone was losing money. The State Capture Inquiry, chaired by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, produced a report so long it was delivered in multiple volumes, like a very depressing Harry Potter series. The Guptas, RJ, Atul and Rajesh, allegedly had more access to the presidency than most ministers. The family eventually fled to Dubai, where they remain, apparently enjoying the weather and the lack of extradition treaties. South Africa is still waiting. Dubai is still shrugging. Number 7. Apartheid secret police were bumping people off and then having lunch. For years, families of anti-apartheid activists said their loved ones had been killed by security forces. The government said, no, these people simply fell out of windows, or slipped in a shower, or spontaneously decided to hang themselves in jail cells. Very sad, very coincidental. Then came the TRC. Then came Eugene de Kock, known as Prime Evil. Which is not a nickname you get for being a really nice guy, who described in calm and extensive detail how the apartheid security apparatus tortured, killed, and sometimes dissolved people in acid. Dissolved in
acid. He was sentenced to 212 years in prison. He was paroled in 2015. He now lives somewhere in South Africa. Sleep well. Number 6. Eskom knew the lights were going to go out and did nothing for 15 years. Engineers at Eskom were raising red flags about power station maintenance and capacity as far back as the early 2000s. Internal reports, memos, desperate PowerPoint presentations, presumably made during load shedding on a laptop running on 4% battery. The public was told everything is fine. The grid is stable. You are panicking for nothing. Then in 2008, the lights went out across South Africa for the first of what would become approximately 10,000 times. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 4, Stage 6, and at one point Stage 8 load shedding, meaning the country was experiencing outages so severe that Eskom had essentially invented new stages just to describe how badly things were going. The conspiracy theorists said the grid is collapsing and they are hiding it. The government said no. The entire country then sat in the dark for 5 years eating cold food. We call this one technically not a conspiracy theory, more of a very accurate prediction. Number 5. Politicians were using Nkandla as a personal luxury resort. Jacob Zuma's private homestead in Nkandla received government-funded security upgrades costing approximately 246 million rand. Among these security upgrades, a swimming pool, a cattle kraal, an amphitheatre, a visitor's centre. Now, you might think those do not sound like security features, and you would be correct. The government, specifically Minister Thulas Mzansi, described the swimming pool as a fire pool designed to fight fires. South Africans across the country looked at their own pools and immediately reclassified them as fire pools for tax purposes.
It did not work for them. The Constitutional Court ruled in 2016 that Zuma had violated the Constitution. He was required to repay some of the money. Did he? Partially. Eventually. With the energy of a child cleaning their room when their parents are watching. Number 4. Police were running protection rackets for drug lords. For years, people in Cape Town's Cape Flats said that certain police officers were not just failing to stop gang violence, they were actively enabling it. Taking money, tipping off drug lords, participating in hits. This sounded very dramatic, also very true. Multiple investigations revealed systemic corruption in the South African police service, with officers tipping off suspects during raids, taking bribes from gang leaders, and in some cases, facilitating murders. The investigating directorate has been making arrests. The cases are moving through courts. Progress is happening at the speed of a metro rail train, which is to say, approximately walking pace, and sometimes not at all. Number 3. Bosasa was basically bribing everyone with rotisserie chicken. Bosasa, officially a facilities management company, unofficially a bribery machine with a very good catering operation, allegedly paid off government officials with cash, security upgrades, and in at least one famous instance, regular deliveries of chicken. Yes, chicken. The kind of corruption exposure you expect involves offshore accounts and suitcases of cash. South Africa said, actually, let us make it about poultry. Angelo Agrizi, former COO of Bosasa, testified at the Zondo Commission with the energy of a man who had been holding everything in for 20 years and was now going to tell everything right now, at length, with receipts. He delivered. The testimony ran for days. It covered cash payments, renovations to the homes of officials, and yes, the chickens. Bosasa was liquidated. Its parent company closed. The chicken deliveries stopped. South Africa mourned in its own way. Number 2. The South African government actively developed a race-specific bioweapon. Back to our friend Project Coast, because it deserves 2
entries on this list for sheer audacity.
Among the many projects Wouter Basson's team allegedly worked on was an attempt to develop a biological or chemical weapon that would specifically target black South Africans while leaving white South Africans unharmed. When this claim first emerged, it was dismissed as paranoid fantasy, science fiction, too villainous even for apartheid. Viewer, it was not too villainous for apartheid. TRC testimony and subsequent investigations confirmed that research along these lines was genuinely pursued. It did not succeed. Apparently, even apartheid scientists had limits imposed on them by, biology. But the intention was there, documented and real. We do not have a joke for this one. It is just deeply grim. Moving on quickly. Number 1. The entire apartheid state was a conspiracy to oppress people, and the world helped. For decades, the apartheid government and its international supporters maintained that the situation in South Africa was essentially fine, a domestic matter, an internal policy question. Certainly not a systematic, state-engineered conspiracy to strip millions of people of their rights, their land, their dignity, and their lives, while the international community did profitable business with everyone involved. Activists, the ANC, the Pan-Africanist Congress, and millions of ordinary South Africans said, no, this is a conspiracy, a deliberate system, designed, funded, maintained with intention.
They were called radicals, agitators, communists. Then apartheid ended. Then the TRC happened. Then the documents came out. And it turned out that yes, it was a fully designed system of deliberate oppression, with security apparatus, propaganda wings, international banking support, weapons suppliers, and government departments all coordinated to maintain it. The conspiracy theorists on this one were just called the victims. And that is the most South African plot twist of all. And those were the top 10 South African conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Which one kept you up at night? Let us know in the comments. And remember, in South Africa, the conspiracy theories are free. It is just the electricity that costs you. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and set a reminder, because given load shedding, your alarm might not go off anyway. For MzansiVerseTV, I am your narrator. Stay suspicious out there.